Hello again, welcome to side 2. Now we return to local news with Sonia.
A student from Brimsdown has turned his back on the stereotypical undergraduate life of lazy lie-ins and long afternoons in the pub in favour of serving the scouting world. Jagjit Jags Bart, 18, of Lansbury Road, is currently studying football business and marketing at UCFB Wembley. After 12 years with the Scout movement in Enfield, first with the 21st Enfield Group and then with the Parker Bowles Explorer Scouts, he has just been selected as the first Deputy Youth Commissioner for British Scouts. A thrilled Jags told the Advertiser that despite the fact that his new role will rule out some of the more decadent aspects of student life, he is thrilled to be able to give something back to the movement that has provided him with so many opportunities. Scouting changed my life, he explained. When I was younger, I loved the adventurous side of things. I loved learning how to cook outdoors on a campfire, and it opened so many opportunities up to me. And now that I'm older, the volunteering side of things appeals to me. I want to pass on the things that I have learned to other young people, and volunteering and doing things for other people impresses employers. It gives you a bit of an edge. Jags explains that the new role he will be performing is a way of the Scout movement reaching out to young people. Everything shouldn't be decided by some 60-year-old man somewhere. To stay current, the movement needs to listen to young people, and that's where I and the other youth commissioners come in, he added. Jags says he was never put off by the fact scouting isn't considered cool by some. When you look at the things you can do as a scout, for example, I travelled to Peru, and when you see something like the International Scout Jamboree in Japan with 40,000 scouts in one place, well, it's just incredible. Jags will be carrying out his new responsibilities on a voluntary basis alongside his university work.
An entrepreneur who started her business from a room in her home will be opening her first shop this weekend. Carla Leroyd set up sewing company Beads and Bobbins in 2011. Ever since first offering her skills to the community in the form of making gifts and leading fun family workshops, her business has gone from strength to strength. After wowing children with her classes and events earlier this year, Carla decided on a whim to enter the Enfield Innovation Awards with an idea to set up a shop which would act as a fun arts and crafts centre, focusing on workshops as well as showcasing her own design and craft skills. Judges were so impressed that she qualified for the finals of the contest, where she won an award based on the creativity of her idea. After being given such a confidence boost, she is launching her new venture, Hang Out the Bunting, in the Meadway, Southgate, this Saturday. Explaining what will be new about being based in a shop, the mum of two said she can host children's craft parties. Already that is an aspect of this business that is proving very popular, she said. I have set up links with caterers and cake makers, so now I can provide a complete package for anyone who wants to do something a little creative for their child's birthday party. Although she readily admits to being a little scared of the prospect of having to keep up rent and overheads on the new premises, she is also excited at the thought of being her own boss. I have had so much support from other local businesses and from my family that I feel confident that people in the local community will welcome me, she added. Carla started off her professional life as a garden designer, but after working 7-day weeks, she took time out to care for her two daughters. Now that her girls are aged 14 and 18, she says the time is right to embark on business once more. Details about workshops, events and parties can be found by logging on to www.hangoutthebunting, all one word, .co.uk.
Police are hunting violent offenders and cracking down on street drinking hotspots across the borough as part of a London-wide operation aimed at reducing violent crime. 2 sergeants and 12 constables from Enfield Police are working full-time to target areas affected by violence as part of Operation Equinox, launched by the Met this month, following a 17.2% spike in violence with injury offences across the capital over the past year. The offences include grievous bodily harm and assault with injury and knife and gun crime. In Enfield, there has been a 12% increase in this type of crime over the past 12 months, with the number of offences rising to 1,293, up from 1,156 between October 2012 and October 2013. Detective Chief Inspector Paul Healy, who is responsible for neighbourhood policing and crime reduction, said the coordinated crackdown will see officers track down some of the worst offenders. Among those suspects are Martin Mungan, 21, Patrick Casolo, 33, Billy Thomas Pugh, 29, and Ramanan Balasingham, 38. All are known to frequent the borough and are wanted in connection with serious assaults. DCI Healy said, while the Edmonton Green Ward is in London's top 30 most violent wards, violence across the borough is sporadic. Officers are also working with the council to ensure that licensing legislation is being enforced, and they will be enforcing the dispersal zone in 4 Street, Edmonton, and Enfield Town, as well as the no drinking zones, of which there are a number across the borough. The Met believes that the spike in violent offences can be attributed to improved recording practices rather than a rise in violence as such. Reported incidents of domestic violence rose by 34% in Enfield. DCI Healy said this was likely due to an increase in the number of people reporting this crime. He added, I believe more victims are coming forward because more people feel they can take action against an abusive partner and change their lives. There was plenty of good news for the Met in Enfield, with burglary offences down by 10% and theft of or from motor vehicles reduced by a fifth between October 2012 and October 2013. Operation Equinox will be running until the start of the new year.
A fantastic preacher and a man who was full of grace is how friends have described the much-loved Methodist minister who has died suddenly. Reverend Jeff Cornell, aged 64, of Queen Elizabeth's Drive, Oakwood, was the superintendent of the Methodist circuit in Enfield. He collapsed on Sunday, October the 12th, at Edmonton Methodist Church in 4 Street, Edmonton, where he was due to preach that morning. The minister had been serving the congregation in Enfield for 7 years, and before that had worked at Hines Street Ministry in Marylebone, one of the most significant church gatherings for Methodists in London. Reverend Kathleen Richardson had studied with Mr. Cornell at Cambridge and had been attending his services since retiring to Southgate. He was a fantastic preacher, she told the Advertiser. His sermons were wonderful. He was interested in art, poetry and music, and would draw on these things to illustrate his sermons. As well as serving in senior positions in the Methodist Church in London, early in his career he had taught in Kenya and had been involved in training other ministers. Fellow minister and friend Mark Wakelin stood in for Mr. Cornell last year when he was on sabbatical, and described his friend as a fantastic minister who was entirely full of grace for everyone he met, regardless of whether he agreed with them or not. He had his own strongly held views about things, but he would always listen to other people, said Mr. Wakelin. He added that Mr. Cornell's death was a great loss to everyone who knew him. He was hugely respected by his colleagues and was much loved by his friends and family, added Mr. Wakelin. I feel he had a lot more mischief to let loose on the church. Reverend Kenneth Howcroft, another close colleague and friend of the father of three, described him as a man whose laugh would light up a room. You could walk into a room and know whether Jeff was there just by hearing his laugh, he said. He will be missed very much. He is survived by his wife Christine, their son, 2 daughters and a grandchild.
Owners of small businesses fear their trade could take a serious blow following a spate of burglaries. A number of businesses in and around Enfield town have been subject to break-ins since the summer, with laptops and £3,000 worth of sunglasses being taken. Owners are now demanding that action is taken to stop a decline in businesses in Enfield town. Gary Kuzulu, who owns Good Looking Optics in Jennerton Road, had sunglasses stolen from his shop last month. He said, "When something like this happens, you feel very unsettled, like your own space has been violated, and it is happening all over the town. This has a major impact on business for many shops, because people who want to shop here or even set up a small business will worry about coming to an area where regular break-ins happen." Kaya Halil, who runs Capture Me in Savoy Parade, has called for an added police presence in the area after his shop was broken into. He said, "It's not just about what they took, but what they leave behind. We need more protection for small businesses because they are the heartbeat of the town. Everyone is nervous about which shop could be hit next. We all work incredibly hard to run our businesses and pay our business rates, so for this to keep on happening is very frustrating. Maybe if we are all on the lookout for each other, that could help keep our community spirit going." Safi Dineen of Training Temple in Southbury Road believes there have been more than 15 incidents. She said, "Some incidents seem opportunistic, but many sound exactly the same, which would indicate that it is the same people carrying out the break-ins." Emma Rigby of community group Love Your Doorstep added, "It's hard enough as it is at the moment, and I would like to encourage small businesses to look at what they have in place security-wise." Abby Osman of Enfield Police said, "Police in Enfield are investigating a number of burglaries which took place between August and October 2014 in the Enfield town business area. Local officers have increased patrols in these areas and have also visited victims of burglary and neighbouring business premises to raise awareness around burglary and ensure that crime prevention advice is provided."
The Advertiser is trying to hunt down a mystery Good Samaritan. Reporter Ruth McKee was cycling to work along London Road on Tuesday morning when she fell off her bike onto some cobblestones on a driveway. Deeply embarrassed at her clumsiness right beside a packed 329 bus, Ruth hurried off on her bike without checking that she still had both panniers attached to the back of it. It was only when she reached the paper's offices in Baker Street that she realised she had left her bag containing a purse, work clothes and personal items in the street. She went back to the scene, but the bag was nowhere to be seen, and she resigned herself to the fact that someone had made off with it. However, less than an hour later, she received a call from the Enfield Library telling her a Good Samaritan had delivered her bag to the police station. The police identified her from the library card in her purse, but had no way of contacting her, so called the library, who had the number on file and called her. But Ruth wants to find the person who saved her bacon to thank them personally. If anyone knows this mystery person, I would love to thank them, so please get in touch with the Advertiser, she said. Call us on 020 8370 5476 if you can help.
An elderly woman was lucky to escape death when the lifting block of a tower crane fell on her house in Edmonton on Saturday morning. Neighbours said the woman, believed to be in her 70s and living with her son in Cooper Road, was in the kitchen when the piece of equipment crashed into her home at 10:30 a.m., damaging part of the roof and destroying a large section of the back of the property. Luckily, she escaped unharmed. Lifting blocks are used to raise heavy building materials at high-rise developments and can weigh several tons. The object dropped from a crane being used in the construction of the new Highmead estate in 4 Street, where 118 new homes, including an 8-storey block of flats, are being built. Lorna Graham, a mother of 2 who lives and works in the area, said the impact of the lifting block had felt like an earthquake. She told the Advertiser, "Everyone in this terrace felt it coming down. People have told me they initially thought it was an earthquake. The thing came down from the crane and ended up on the bottom floor, while the lady was not far from it in her kitchen. It was very close." Work on the site is being carried out by Countryside Properties, the developer chosen by Enfield Council to build the estate. David Everett, Managing Director of Countryside Regeneration South, said, "We are undertaking our own investigation with our crane supplier. We are in contact with the family and have dedicated a member of staff to liaise with them during this time. The Health and Safety Executive is investigating."
A pilot scheme offering drivers 15 minutes free parking at 5 town centres across the borough has been branded too little too small by the leader of a group of traders. Kostas Georgiou, who is chairman of the Green Lanes Business Association, based in Palmer's Green, has criticised the new initiative by Enfield Council that will see 11 free stop-and-shop parking schemes introduced. The scheme, aimed at boosting trade in the borough, will consist of 2 spaces in Enfield Town, 2 in Green Lanes, Winchmore Hill, 3 in Chayside Southgate, 2 in Ponders End High Street, and 2 in Hertford Road, Enfield Highway. But Mr. Georgiou said the initiative would achieve very little. Around the pay and display areas, we need at least 20 minutes of free parking, and in town centres, for example, at least on one whole side of the road, he said. That would make a difference, and we have been campaigning for this for years. If there are just 2 bays, they won't even be noticed by people, and won't make much difference. The council needs to understand that, for example, if an old lady needs to go into a shop and there is a queue, 15 minutes is not enough time. It's even worse that Palmer's Green is not included. I feel we've been treated unfairly. The council says the scheme is the result of talks with businesses and comes as part of wider efforts to encourage residents to shop locally and boost the borough's town centres. If the scheme proves successful, it could be expanded or spread to other locations. Chris Bond, Cabinet Member for Environment and Community Safety, said, We recognise that parking is of massive importance to our town centres, and we work closely with the shop owners to make sure there are enough parking spaces offered, and they are affordable and near shops. Business owners said it would boost their trade if we introduced free parking for a quarter of an hour, so that people who want to pop in their local shops can do so without having to buy and pay and display tickets. We've listened to what they said, and we will be trialling this scheme to see how successful it is.
A borough-wide panic over a stranger danger alert issued by schools in the wake of an abduction attempt could have been sparked by social media. John Richardson, assistant head teacher at Kingsmead School near Southbury Road, Enfield, told the Advertiser that 2 students, a 16-year-old girl and her 11-year-old sister, were approached by a man and a woman in a van on Monday last week. The girl's parents told the police, who, in turn, alerted the school. Mr. Richardson said that while staff knew of the incident, the school had made a choice not to frighten or panic pupils. We have 2 full-time security staff stationed at bus stops every afternoon, and senior teachers patrol areas around the school, he said. However, as police had issued alerts to all schools about the incident, the news soon spread to parents' groups on Facebook, where speculation mounted over the extent of the danger. The Advertiser can reveal that police have said that only 1 such incident has been reported to them in the past week, when the 2 girls were approached in Savoy Parade off Southbury Road at 4 p.m. last Monday. Detective Inspector Yasmin Lalani from Enfield CID said, "I would always ask parents to remind children about the importance of not talking to or going with strangers. Equally, parents should ensure they are happy with their children's whereabouts at all times. If any children know about any incidents where either they or a friend have been approached by a stranger in circumstances that cause concern, they should contact police without delay." Police are continuing to appeal for information about last week's incident. Both suspects are described as white and aged about 50. The man had close-cropped hair, and the woman had a bob-style haircut. Anyone with information can call 101 or Crime Stoppers anonymously on 0800 555 111. Mr. Richardson stressed that all staff members were extra vigilant in the wake of the incident and added, "Obviously, all of our staff are aware, and we are going to keep our eyes and ears open at all times."
A driver who constantly used his mother's disabled parking permit to park outside a pub has been fined. Martin Gazzi pleaded guilty of blue badge fraud and was ordered to pay £1,600. Gazzi was spotted parking his BMW X5 outside Taps pub in Silver Street, Enfield Town, on March the 24th, 2014, without a parking ticket, but with a blue badge. The blue badge used by Gazzi had an expiry date of October the 5th, 2013 on it. However, Gazzi had covered the date when displaying the badge in the hope that no one would notice. The blue badge had been issued by Croydon Council to Gazzi's mother, but had been cancelled after being reported lost. Enfield Council's Cabinet Member for Environment, Councillor Chris Bond, said, "I sincerely hope this sentence acts as a proper deterrent to the kind of people who think that it is appropriate to misuse someone else's blue badge in this manner."
Celebrating 50 years of UK #1 hit singles, The Magic of Motown is coming to Harrow Arts Centre. 7:30 p.m. on Thursday, November the 20th, with its all-new Reach Out 2014 tour, and we have a pair of tickets to give away. In 1964, songs like Dancing in the Street, My Girl, Where Did Our Love Go, My Guy and Baby Love rocketed Motown to the top of the singles charts. Incredibly, 100 more Motown number ones followed worldwide. The Magic of Motown 2014 Reach Out Tour brings to the stage 36 of these chart toppers back to back in one critically acclaimed production. Direct from the USA, The Magic of Motown delivers 5-star performances that authentically revive the style and sophistication of everyone's favourite legends from the Detroit-based record label. This year, more number one songs than ever before feature. Classic hits from The Temptations, Four Tops, Jackson 5, Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, Lionel Richie and the Supremes are packed into the 2-hour spectacular. To enter our competition, simply answer this question. In which American city was the Motown label founded? The first correct entry drawn will win a pair of tickets to the show. Send your answer with your name, address and a daytime telephone number to Motown Competition, North London and Herts Newspapers, 187 Baker Street, Enfield, EN1 3JT, or send your answer with contact details to competitions@nlnews.co.uk with Motown in the subject line by noon on Wednesday, October the 29th. There is no cash alternative. Usual rules apply. The editor's decision is final. Harrow Arts Centre is at Uxbridge Road, Hatch End, Middlesex, HA5 4AE. Tickets are £18 and concessions are a 10% discount for groups of 10 or more. To contact the box office, call 020 8416 8989 or go to www.harrowarts.com.
A councillor charged with assault will have to wait until the new year before his trial begins. Councillor Haydar Ulus, who represents Hazelbury Ward on Enfield Borough Council, is accused of assaulting a man occasioning actual bodily harm during an incident on February the 20th. Councillor Ulus appeared at Wood Green Crown Court for the first time last Thursday and was bailed to return to court on January the 8th. His bail conditions include not making contact with the victim or a witness to the incident. Councillor Ulus, who was elected in May, has been suspended from the Labour Party and is currently representing Hazelbury Ward as an independent councillor.
We've reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. So from the team of Sonia, Phil, Jenny and myself, and Jason on the controls, thank you Jason, it's goodbye. Please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the cassette into the packet and return it to us as soon as possible, in readiness for the next edition. Don't forget you can call Diane de Jersey regarding any help you may require in connection with the Enfield Talking newspaper. The Enfield Talking newspaper will be with you again in 1 week's time.